Hello everyone, Trophy Wine Hunter. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm doing a review of another Barolo wine. As viewers may remember, I'm really focused this year on Barolo region and learning more about it. So we're bringing you today the 2010 Beni di Batasiolo Barolo from Bussia, and the specific vineyard is Bofani. So something about Batasiolo. So I wasn't aware, but it's actually not that old a winery. Batasiolo was started in 1978 by the Dogliani family, and they bought a historic winery called the Kiola winery, and in that they had it comprised 7 estates or bennies. And so the Batasiolo, that is actually a topographical kind of area. That's what it's called. The place that they bought was called Batasiolo. So it's called the Estates of Batasiolo, Beni di Batasiolo. That's their name. They're actually the largest family-owned winery in Piedmont. And they're huge, 320 acres. So it's a ton of acreage, a lot of very nice vineyards. In terms of producer, I think they're quite a large producer, and they're fairly what we call mainstream. And so they produce very good quality product. But I guess some people might not like them because, again, they're kind of more, I wouldn't say commercialized, but a bigger winery and maybe not as specialized as some of the other Barolo producers. They are from the Maremma region, although this winery is actually the village that it comes from is Monteforte D'Alba, and the area is Bussia. So Bussia is a cru area or MGA in Barolo, but Bussia, the problem with Bussia is it's a really large region, so there's a lot of variation in it. In general, the altitude isn't too high, and as you recall from my other videos, I'm big into altitude, higher altitude vineyards in Barolo. My hypothesis is that's where you get the best grapes quality and the best wines a little bit higher up than where Bussia is. I've drank a couple of Batasiolo wines and also from the Bussia region, and never really liked them that much compared to some of the other regions I drink. I find them a little soft, but you know, again, let's go through this wine. Like other Barolo wines, this wine is aged 24 months in Slavonian oak, and then 12 months minimum in stainless steel. So that sounds like a lot, but actually every Barolo is minimum, I think, 36 or 38 months. So that's just the nature of the region. So let's drink this wine. I've had this open for quite a while now. I had it in the afternoon with friends. They all loved it. The nice thing is this is a 2010 vintage. So it's got 13 years of age on it. Really, I think showing quite well. We didn't decant it. I just popped and opened. Seemed fine. It's now got a lot of air into it now. It's probably been out in the bottle for about 4 hours now. So I'm now having it at home and retasting it. So on the color and the smell, classic Barolo aroma. And this is really educational when you drink older Barolos. You don't get, I think as this type of aromatic, it's fairly classic: roses, leather, tar, tobacco, kind of tea leaves. To me, this is very classic Barolo. I find that when you drink younger Barolo, we just had the Masolino 2016, it's much harder for me to pick up. Older wine like this with the 2010 vintage, for me, it's like not difficult at all. Anyone can smell this. Very classic. Maybe you would have some problem distinguishing between this and maybe some of the Sangiovese, but to me, it's fairly classic Barolo aroma. Let's look at the cork and the bottle. So the cork, fairly long cork, probably nondescript. This is because of me, because I've taken the put the cork back in a couple of times. So this is the bottle, Beni di Batasiolo, Barolo, Bussia, and the vineyard is Bofani. Let's see one at the back of it. It is 14.5% alcohol. It does feel 14.5%, but very smooth. The winery is situated in Lamora, the headquarters, but this wine comes from Monteforte D'Alba. And then here's the color of the wine. As you can see, still nice, but it is showing some signs of aging, and that's this type of garnet color, or dark, kind of like a dull red, is, I think, fairly characteristic of Barolo, particularly older Barolo. When I close up on the bottle, you'll also see the color is kind of a more dull red, which is also, could be Sangiovese too, but this is fairly classic Nebbiolo in terms of the garnet color of this wine, but beautiful. And again, I think it's a great alternative to Pinot Noir. It's such an aromatic grape. When you get a little bit of age on it, it's a little bit stronger than Pinot Noir, but it's got that very floral aromas, like rose petals, violets, and then kind of that tar element to it. So really enjoyable in terms of the smell. And you can see I'm just really enjoying just smelling it. After all these hours, in fact, I think it's tasting better and with more aeration. It's tasting fuller. So when I first opened this wine and popped and opened it, it was a little bit on the lighter side. And I've actually opened a couple of bottles of this wine, and I think haven't given it enough air. Thinking it's 2010, doesn't need that much air. It actually needs quite a bit of air to open it up a bit. And that was my mistake with my other bottles. With this one now, it's been out of open for about 4 hours, even though it hasn't been put in a decanter. It's beautiful. It's very round. I would say it's medium to heavy bodied. Still nice tannins, but I would say very controlled at this point. But still lots of dried berries, dried plums, dried cherries, dried strawberries. There's a lot of tea leaf and tobacco on this, dried plums. It's got a lot going on, and actually I'm quite impressed with this wine now that I've drank it again. I have had, again, this bottle quite a few times, and this is probably the best kind of experience I've had with it. And again, I think it's because I've aired it a little bit longer. And so perhaps in the past I didn't give it enough air. So it's just a matter of experience with this bottle. I'm really liking this wine. It's got a little bit of, it's got some tannin aftertaste right now, but very nice and heavy, but smooth at the same time because of the age. Really performing well. This is pretty classic Barolo. If you're a Barolo drinker, I think this is a classic interpretation of the wine. Very nice, not overbearing, very pleasing, very characteristic of Barolo. Originally, I would have given this 91 points. I'm going to up it to 93 points. I really like this wine. So I'm very impressed with it. Showing very well right now. I think it still can go for easily 10 years, no problem. But I think it's in its drinking window. If I were to open this, I would decant and wait 2 to 4 hours. But again, you can maybe wait another 5 to 10 years on this wine. Still lots of life into it. Impressed with this wine. Previously I wasn't impressed with Bussia, but I think perhaps the problem is I'm not letting it air long enough. Bussia and the Monteforte D'Alba region is supposed to be a heavier expression of Barolo, so you probably do need a little bit of age on this. And as we continue to learn Barolo, I'm going to get older bottles, and then we're going to see how those taste. But this is a really great expression of the Barolo wine. I'm really quite thrilled with this wine, actually. So I hope you've enjoyed this tasting. Until next time, happy drinking.